Hi there, my name is Art, and I'm here to talk to you about a business opportunity, a proven business opportunity, publishing newspapers and magazines and selling advertising. This was my first newspaper, the church paper, black and white. This is a magazine type, a restaurant guide. Here's another one of my newspapers. Here's a Vocal Local. I've printed dozens of kinds of newspapers, and they all have one thing in common. They were all profitable. And I've been making $100,000 a year in the newspaper publishing business since 2009. But what's most important is that I've been teaching people to do the same thing. And I'm not alone. There's over 25,000 independent publishers in the USA right now. In other words, publishers such as myself, publishing out of their own homes, many in their own communities just like me. I like to say that this business is a business for dummies because any dummy could succeed and any dummy can succeed anywhere in the world. It's basically, the principle is targeted advertising, which is the same as Valpak, very expensive franchise. It's similar to the Red Plum, which some of you get in the mail and some of you get in the newspapers. It's like the Clipper magazine. It's also similar to the Coffee News. So basically there's 25,000 independent franchises in America, independent publishers. Another 200 franchises that have hundreds of franchisees, all working under the same business premise, which is targeted advertising, which is what I did. I mailed my papers to a particular zip code, and then I visited the businesses in that zip code and sold them advertising. And yeah, they were interested in the advertising because I was mailing my paper to the customers most likely to come into their business. I was mailing it to all the households that were surrounding their business. And I was able to do it at a fraction of the cost of all the other medias, all the other newspapers, all the other franchise medias, all the other whatever was out there advertising. I was able to take their customers away. I had no competition. And I succeeded in the rural area of North and South Carolina. I was right on the border. This is what they call a turnkey business. I was mailing my paper to 5 different zip codes. And I had to travel 30 miles in order to reach 20,000 residents. There was only 300 businesses in the whole 30 miles. It was kind of like a retirement area. This is what it looked like when I would pick up my papers from the printer. There's 10,000 in the car, 8,000 in the back seat, another 2,000 in the 8,000 in the trunk, another 2,000 in the back seat. This is what it looked like when I brought it into the post office. This is what one of my bulk mailing receipts look like. And this is something out of my presentation book where I would show the people the routes, the postal receipts, where I was mailing the paper to, so they knew what I was doing and I knew what I was talking about. Well, the thing is, I've been teaching people to do this business successfully since 2009. And most people have it a lot easier than me. A lot of my students are able to conduct the whole business in one zip code where you have 20,000 homes and residents and businesses all in one zip code, and often as many as 1,000 or more businesses. So I was making $100,000 a year in a rural community with no businesses. We really had a Walmart in 10 miles one direction, another Walmart 12 miles in the other direction. So there were no businesses there. All that there were some restaurants, which is where all the retired people such as me would go eat out. Another stumbling block I had is I was a transient. I only lived in the area for 6 years. I was only in North Carolina for a few years. So I really didn't know the business owners. And on top of everything else, half the business owners wouldn't speak to me. They wouldn't speak to me because I was what they called a Yankee. And they didn't like the Northerners, you know. So that made it additionally difficult. But most of my students don't have that problem. Anyhow, the papers are basically full of advertising. There's nothing in the paper that I didn't make money off of. If it's in the paper, I made money. And I did make money. And this business was easy. Once I got the customers into the paper, all I had to do after that was go visit them monthly and collect checks from them. Now, since I've been teaching people the last few years to do the same thing, I've developed a sample paper. I used to give everyone my own papers that they would go out with and show the businesses they bought a franchise and they're going to start this printing business. And it only had North and South Carolina businesses in it, and there was no self-promotion. But since then, I made a special newspaper totally dedicated just to selling advertising. So now, my students, when they go out to sell advertising, they don't have to be a salesperson. All they have to do is turn the pages. All the little advertising sayings are all over the place. They're all built into the paper. So now, selling is effortless. It was always effortless anyhow, because the basic sales pitch is we go to a business and we tell that business we're going to be mailing a paper to everyone in your zip code. The paper is going to come in the mailbox. And we're going to be able to give you an all-color ad for a penny a house. And there's 3 people in a house. So, when I was mailing my 10,000 papers every month, I would be selling the customers a penny a house. That's $100. So basically, it would cost them $100 for an ad like this, which is kind of crazy because if you go to buy 10,000 business cards from Vistaprint, that cost $650. So who could deliver 10,000 full-color ads into the home with 3 people in a home for a penny? Nobody could. Only I could, which is why I stole everyone's business. The reason I was able to do it was I didn't buy any franchise. I designed all my own advertising. I worked with the printers directly. Nobody made any money off me. And I didn't have to pay anyone any royalties. So basically it cost me under $3,000 to mail and print 10,000 12-page, all-color, beautiful newspapers. And it'll cost you the same thing. And when you're done selling the advertising at a penny a house, which is hardly selling, it's like giving it away, you're going to bring in $10,000 worth of ad revenue. So you're going to make money. And this business has no startup expenses. Because when you go to the businesses with your sample paper, with your maps, with your postal receipts, with your knowledge, and you offer them the offering, they're going to have interest. And they're going to tell you, yeah, that sounds great. Make me up a sample. And you make them up a sample. And before you go back to them, you send it to me and I tweak it for you. And when you go back, they're going to see it and they're going to say, wow, this is great. How much more for a bigger ad? Well, actually, most of the people I did sell a bigger ad to. The way you get into the business is the 1 cent a house, and in some cases that's what you have to sell, but I hardly ever sold that. The last couple of years, I never sold it at all. When I switched over to the magazine format, the smallest ad I would give everyone was a quarter page. There was no more eighth of a pages for $100. It was a quarter page and up, and the quarter page price was $200, which basically, similar thing, it was 2 cents a house. I was sold out, so I didn't have to give any, I didn't want to take the smaller ads. Anyhow, if you call me up, number one, you can start this business for free. There's no startup expenses. On my videotape, on my website is 11 videotapes, tutorials explaining to you how you can do this in your own home, in your own community, without any startup costs. If you call me up, there's a playlist. Look for the playlist and it'll show you all 11 videos, one after the other. And if you call me up, I'll use my software and I'll check out your zip code and I'll tell you how many homes and businesses are in your zip code, and then you'll be able to determine if your zip code or area is conducive to this business model. The odds are it will be, because my area was the pits. I had to mail to 5 zip codes in 2 different states because I was on the border. So that was really difficult, and there was hardly any businesses there. But when I started this business, I didn't know how difficult it was. For me, it was easy. But since I started teaching people the business, many of them have gone on to have 4 or 5 papers, some of them in 4 or 5 different locations. There's no limit on how much money you can make in this business. I've had publishers start with 36-page papers and immediately take in $30,000 their first issue and only spend $5,000-$6,000 in expenses, because not everybody mails the paper. Sometimes they leave it in the supermarket racks. I had a guy start with a 68-page Auto Trader book, because I'll teach you to do any type of magazine your marketplace needs. Most of my students, they do like me, a general coupon type newspaper, whereas you can visit every business in the strip mall and sell advertising to everyone. Once you get that first paper going, then you get into themed papers like restaurant and tourist books and golf magazines and mugshot papers and real estate magazines. But the first paper is an Auto Trader type things, but the first paper is usually similar to mine, since that's the easiest to succeed with. Anyhow, visit my website. It's thefunnewsfranchise.com. Watch all the videos, read all the stuff, and then call me up and I'll be glad to investigate your zip codes, your demographics, discuss this opportunity with you, and if you'd like further information or have any questions, do not hesitate to call. I'm here and I'd love to work with you. Don't be a stranger. This is a turnkey business opportunity that's similar to franchises that are selling up to $100,000, and these franchises have been around for decades now. So this is nothing new, and this is no dream. If you want to do it, you can do it. I did it. Nobody held my hand. If you want, I'll hold your hand. I'll make sure you get it done. Anyhow, don't be a stranger. Visit the website, Fun News Franchise. I'm here to help, and my name is Art. Bye.